Hello, Big Brother fans. This is a review of episode 23 of Big Brother 14. Well, we start with a diary room entry by Frank saying, if Ian gets HOH, I'll be on the block. Again. Because of their constant bickering and fighting. So then we go on and we are shown how the HOH game played out. And they're spinning around and Ian is keeping everybody amused or irritated by all these different things, like, it's spinning at a revolution of 11 minutes per minute, or 11 whatever rotations per minute. And I mean, he's just coming up with all of this stuff and talking about comets are really made out of ice. So I don't know how you figured that comet that was banging us was really a comet. And bless his heart. He's such a geek. But so Joe falls off within 2 minutes of actually hanging there, and he has to open a box which was either designated as a prize or a punishment. Of course, America voted for a punishment, and he had to hula hoop every time Reveille was played on the horns, and he had to hula hoop the entire duration of the song being played. So they show him throughout, the evening and the day and whatnot, hula hooping. And the fun part is that they actually got to keep the hula hoop afterwards. So yesterday they spent quite a bit of time trying to see who was better at hula hooping than each other. Anyway, Jen fell off after 5 minutes after being hit by the comet. Danielle fell off after 34 minutes. Dan held on for 42 minutes. And I was shocked, actually, that the two women fell off so early in the game. I know that women, we don't have the upper body strength that men have, but usually women do a little bit better in endurance competition. So I really was a little shocked that they both bailed before the rest of the men. Then they showed a diary room entry of Danielle saying, I don't know if I want Ian to win. He just voted to send me out. But, to me, that is totally different. Sometimes voting for someone to go really is a vote for the other person to stay. And how was he supposed to vote? Brittany was his bestie, so how did she think he was really going to vote? His vote was the pity vote, so come on, give the kid a break, right? I think everybody should be given a pity vote. I know that sometimes they worry about the pity votes because, sometimes it can swing, and then that pity vote ends up being the vote that really keeps the one person, but still, come on, being sent home with 0 votes to stay, that's a little insulting. Shane asked everyone at a certain point for them to leave so that he and Ian could talk, since they were the only ones still spinning. Frank said he was worried because he doesn't want to have to go back on the block, as well as he wanted to he has the pact with Shane, and he's worried that if Shane is trying to work out a deal to fall off, so that he can just get off of the spinning thingy, that he's going to be put up. And anyway, Ian promised Shane that he and Danielle were safe and that they would not be backdoored. So at 1 hour and 56 minutes, Shane falls off and allows Ian to win. Ian did actually stay up for at least another minute or two, and then before he fell, he had asked if he was good to go, Let's see. Ian was very happy because he was able to finally avenge Brittany, but later on, I don't know, at the very end, he says 99% of his nominations was strategy, and only 1% was vengeance, or avenging her. But whatever, either way, at least if he can keep it so that one of his 2 nominations actually goes to the jury house, then I think it will help Brittany's sensibilities to see that Ian did her well. Joe tells Frank almost immediately, I think, that he's going to be going after Dan and Jen. And so Frank starts to wonder, am I really going to be safe? Um, let's see, what else do we have here? But Frank immediately says, but I'm in an alliance with Dan, so I don't want to go upstairs and throw him under the bus. And I felt really bad for him because I was thinking, listen, Dan would throw you under the bus in a New York minute. I mean, he doesn't care about those kind of things, and Frank should know that by now. By seeing how things have played out and flipped, and how he flipped on his group because it looked like there was no hope for him. He should know that this is what happens. This is Dan, but yeah. I think you get kind of blinded when you're in the home. So later on, we see the remainder of the Quack Pack upstairs in the HOH. The Quack Pack being Danielle, Danny, Dan, Shane, and Ian. And they quack on putting up Frank and Jen. Frank does try later, that evening, to go upstairs and get it into Ian that he needs to get over the fact that Brittany was sent home, that it was, part of the game, and people are going to be sent home. And from their talk, Ian doesn't ever say, you're going up. But he doesn't even really say, I'm going to save you either. Apparently Big Brother made a snap decision that he's no longer allowed to talk about their nominations, because I think at some point, people were just saying, face it, you're going to be up, I guess they just don't want that, so that, people know ahead of time or whatever. Let's see. Oh, the carrot costume finally got to bite the dust. I was a little tired of seeing Frank in that goofy outfit, and I know he mentioned it before that it was hard to have his whole HOH reign and pull such crazy moves wearing a carrot costume, and I've got to agree it is kind of ridiculous. I just, at some point, hope that CBS gets over some of the things that they do just every single year. The costumes, it started, I think, with that unitard way back when, and it's just continued, and it's just truly, I'm kind of over it. The other thing I'm over is the repetition of the games. They really truly need to start coming up with a little bit different stuff, because I shouldn't say this because it is semi-spoiler, but not really. I mean, the POV was Otev. I mean, oh, come on. Over Otev. Anyway, moving back on Pandora's Box. Ian is given the choice to open Pandora's Box, and he was given the promise of the best Christmas ever. Now, come on. Who is really going to give up the choice of having the best Christmas ever? So he was told that everything under the tree is yours to keep, and Jesse Claus comes in as the punishment for the rest of the group. And that's another thing I'm over Jesse. This is his third year that he's been, that he comes into the house, but he brings the gift of health to everyone, and he cleans out all their junk food and replaces everything with organic good stuff. And one night Danielle was just having a crazy fit about not having any of her junk food available to her, and they all kind of were like, just want a chip, or they just want a little piece of chocolate or whatever. So as Ian is geeking out all over all of his goofy gifts, and everything is so childish, actually. Science projects, stuffed animals, Mega Bloks, just really childish things. The thing is that it's giving the house guests a little bit of something to to try to while away the boredom, really. So I guess it works. But as he's upstairs geeking out all over all of this stuff, he says, man, they must be being punished down there, because to him that was awesome stuff. Let's see. La, 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 la. Oh, something that Ian said to Dan was really interesting. Frank is a meat shield. I thought that was hilarious. Basically, he was talking about kind of wanting to keep Frank in the game because he's an awesome target, that people will go after constantly. Thinking about, putting him and Jen up, but letting Jen go home and keeping Frank because of, the use of him, basically. But he also forgets that when Frank is not in charge, and he's available to get in charge, he does get in charge. But Ian was thinking ahead because Frank still cannot play HOH this coming Thursday. They haven't yet been told, but they have a clue by watching the feeds. They do have a clue that another double elimination is coming up, and that's usually via the things they're given to practice. Right now they're playing beanbags, so there's something, it's got to be fast and easy because everything's going to be done in one night, right? Let's see. What I'm not understanding though about also Ian's choice of keeping Frank is if Frank gets to the very end and he's up against, like Ian, it's like how I'm wondering how people are going to weigh things, when they're in the jury, because sometimes depending on who they are, they have a lot of time to sit and think about things and look at things in terms of, it was just a game. A lot of people do keep a lot of their, the feelings inside of, of them, and they vote with their feelings instead of looking at it as a game aspect. But I don't know, if I had Ian versus Frank, Ian, basically just pulled the fast one on Boogie. Pretty much. That's about it. I don't know. If I was in the jury and I saw how hard Frank had to fight each and every week to not only not be voted out, and then come back to become HOH, is amazing. But then when he became HOH and he took on all of these punishments to get Dan out, only to have Dan pull a fast one on him, can you respect that? I'm not sure, so it'll be very interesting. They continue to think of how they're going to get and who they're going to finally take with them to the final two. Anyway, they had nomination ceremony, and Frank and Jen were chosen. He told Frank that he was a phenomenal competitor, but a huge threat. And he told Jen that she has been playing a remarkable social game. I don't know how. She very seldom on the feeds is ever really with anybody. She's almost always sleeping or very solitary. So I don't know how, how he figured that, but oh well, something, right? He also told them that it was nothing personal. He also said that he may need 2 shots to get Frank out, so putting him up this week, and then hopefully one of, the Quack Pack gets into control on Thursday, so that they can, if he doesn't actually go and Jen goes, then Frank gets hopefully put back up, and that's when they'll probably very much so target him. However, POV will be coming up on Wednesday, so we'll see how that all plays out. They end with Dan's soundbite saying that the entire pack that I stabbed in the back is now in an alliance with me again, and I still do not understand how these people do not recognize this and continue to keep him in the house, but hey, they'll find out when when Big Brother is writing out a check to them, to Dan. Anyways, we will see you on Wednesday. See ya.